So this is easily the greatest Sonic Racing game to ever exist. Now, there might be some recency bias behind that, I'm sure, and I'm sure that my opinions might change in the next couple months or years, but I have a strong feeling that I'm always going to consider that this is the best Sonic Racing game by far. Now, I didn't think that it could really get much better than what Sonic Riders, the original one, had to offer, considering it had such great level design, awesome racing, awesome extreme gearboards, and generally just a really fast-paced race. But this game takes all of that, combines it with Sonic Racing All-Stars Transformed, and even doubles all of that into this amazing game known as Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. Now, this video is going to be kind of somewhat of my first impressions about the game, as I have not completely 100% of the game, and hell, I haven't even touched online yet. The moment I'm recording, this game's been out for a little over 24 hours now on PC, and I have 13 hours in playtime already. And I have yet to touch the online mode of this game. Now, I have full intentions to go on online and try to get the highest rank that is possible and unlock everything that online has to offer. But I am just so wrapped up in the Grand Prix, the rivals, the amazing race park, and also completing all the time trials before I ever step foot in online mode. And I also just want to unlock all the cars. I want to unlock some of the AI racer skins. And I even want to unlock Super Sonic, which I have already done. While Super Sonic is great to have him in a game, and it's great to have him in any game to any capacity, I will say that it is a little bit of a shame that he's limited to Grand Prix, and I think it's also a shame that this dude is just straight up invincible. He doesn't even run off of rings like the previous Riders games, but he legit cannot get hit by any items, making the Grand Prix just easy mode no matter what level your rival is. It is almost impossible to lose with this character. And I honestly just kind of refuse to use it because it's just kind of like a baby mode, and I just don't find it to be much fun because it's just always me in first, and even if you try to catch up to me, you can't hit me with items, so good luck. But when it comes to the Grand Prix, all of the amazing available characters and all of their different rival interactions is some of the most highlighted fun of the game. I love the option of being able to pick Sonic in the Grand Prix and then customize my vehicle to however I wanted. And I love that there's just a modify section to each of the karts and extreme gearboards, because you can just adjust the color or how you want to ride those specific vehicles to suit your character, but it won't save it. So it's nice to not have a custom slot taken up for that. But I love the idea of being able to get into the Grand Prix and it'll give you a rival. Say it gives you Big the Cat, for instance. You can press R1 or RB if you're on Xbox and switch it to whatever character you would like. So if you want to have a rival of Sonic versus Shadow and see what their interaction's going to be like in the game, you can absolutely do that, and it is so much fun to do so and just listen to what they have to say together. There's some really funny but also really nostalgic lines that they actually end up saying in here, and also some key events that aren't in the games or the comics, or sometimes they'll even mention stuff from the comics implying that they did stuff in there. And also being able to adjust the level of the difficulty that allows you to get more Dodonpaw tickets is such a cool feature as well. But not only that, you also have the amazing option of being able to pick the different speeds that you have inside of the Grand Prix that just all feel super well done. You have normal, high speed, Sonic speed, super Sonic speed, and mirror Sonic speed. Now, the main ones that I really stick to is first Sonic speed, which is the first one that you have unlocked for you. You have to unlock super Sonic speed in the mirror mode. I've currently completed Sonic speed and super Sonic speed completely all the way through, and I'm currently working on the mirror mode. But Sonic speed is very similar to 150cc that we're used to in Mario Kart if you ever played those games, where everything just feels really natural and it feels like the perfect speed for the game. But if you want a little bit more challenge and you want to go super insanely fast, you have the 200cc option of super Sonic speed, something that Mario Kart World doesn't even have to offer. Now, this mode is a bunch of fun, but it is really difficult, especially if you're going to face against rivals that are at a high difficulty. While it is fun, there are moments that you will just go flying off the track, or you'll just be constantly stuck to a wall because you're moving so fast that you can't turn fast enough. I noticed this specifically in water sections where I would almost just run into the wall and be stuck there because I am moving so fast on the water, and it's already hard enough to kind of somewhat turn in the water section. Now, I wish the handling was maybe a little bit better in supersonic speed, but I don't mind it as it is just more of a challenge, and it's kind of the risk you take with picking this mode. But the rivals in the CPUs show you absolutely no mercy in this mode, because if you're riding up against a wall or you're stuck in a section, they'll pass you and they won't care. I have easily went from first to dead dead last and have not been able to catch up from there if I ever get stuck in a section. While that might be some of a skill issue, as people may say, Supersonic Speed is a very hard mode to get used to on specific tracks. It actually took me quite a few tries to clear the Chow Cup, or as the game calls it, the Crystal Grand Prix, with Blizzard Valley, Radical Highway, and Chow Park. Blizzard Highway has a track where it is basically all icy and you slip around a lot, and Chow Park has a lot of water sections. Radical Highway isn't too bad. I actually think it's one of my favorite stages as it's pretty straightforward and reminds me a lot of SA2. But Blizzard Valley and Chow Park on Supersonic Speed is kind of hell. I like these in Sonic Speed, that's totally fine. They're great tracks and that, but in Supersonic Speed, oh my god, it is kind of hell. But that kind of brings up the other thing, is all the amazing different track selections that they have. Now, the base game has 24 available tracks if you're including the Secret Grand Prix, and it has 15 CrossWorlds. And we already have some of the DLC tracks announced in the likes of Minecraft World and also Bikini Bottom, and it looks like there's going to be another one and another whole Grand Prix of DLC courses. And I'm sure that these are just somewhat of the beginning of what we're going to get for DLC, so I can't wait to see what they come up with. I'd love to see some other Sonic tracks. I think it'd be really cool to see something like Kingdom Valley, Speed Highway, or even like a Chaos Island if they wanted to do another Frontiers theme track. But I have to be honest, I don't know if I really dislike any of these tracks. I will say that I don't absolutely love the water, as I think I'm just not super skilled enough in it yet. So stages like Coral Town, Chow Park, Aqua Forest, or even Water Palace, I would say are probably my least favorite, just because I'm not super experienced in a lot of the water, or maybe there's just a trick to it that I'm not understanding. But overall, I think that they're really solid tracks. Stages like E Stadium, Metal Harbor, Sand Road, Mystic Jungle, Kronos Island, White Space, and the list goes on and on, are all incredible tracks and some of the best that any racing game has to offer. Two of my personal favorite kart racing games is Mario Kart Double Dash and Mario Kart 8. And I think those two do track design super well, but also the speed and the transformations that Mario Kart 8 had to offer did an incredible job of that. I think this very well rivals all of that when it comes to track design and also different transformation parts of the stage. And the great thing about a lot of the karts is every time you go through a different track, it kind of feels like you're going through a different track, as you have to kind of go through them differently depending on what type of vehicle you're using. And some shortcuts are going to be easier depending on which vehicle you're using, which is a really cool thing as well. There's a part in Radical Highway where you have to go up the bridge, something that you can do in Sonic Adventure 2, and there's a bunch of boosters on the side, but it's super easy to fall off of this or even get on this to begin with. I found it a lot easier to be able to do this with the extreme gear boards, but on karts like the Power, Acceleration, or even sometimes the speed ones, it was kind of somewhat hard to stick onto this. And there's a lot of other shortcuts within the game that were hard to do that. But somewhat speaking of gameplay and different shortcuts and all of that, the gameplay is so good. This feels so polished, and yet it still even feels better than the open network test that we got not that long ago. The open network test was super addictive and super fun to play online, and even the Grand Prix feature that we had available to us then. This feels incredible, and it feels even more polished than that, and I truly cannot put this game down, as you can notice from my playtime from just one day. I played this game for 13 hours non-stop, and I cannot put this game down, and I constantly am going back to playing this game. It genuinely was hard to even sit down and record this video and not play this game. Like, this game genuinely hits like crack, and there's not many Sonic games that have really felt like this. There are a few that have some great Sonic games that have kind of given me that feeling, like Shadow Generations, the adventure games, and even the original Sonic Riders. But there's definitely games, dare I even say, like Sonic Frontiers, that really gave me some gamer fatigue at times, where I would almost get a little bit bored or sick of doing the same thing over and over again. Sometimes it's really hard for me to jump back into Frontiers and play through the game, as it is a really big commitment. I still absolutely love the games, and that's not me knocking on Sonic Frontiers, and if you haven't played it, you absolutely should. But I really don't feel this at all, and I've played through each of these tracks multiple times inside of the Grand Prix and Race Park, and it is just genuinely so much fun. And you also have the incredible CrossWorlds, the whole gimmick of the game, where in the second lap, you'll be transferred into either a random location or a predetermined location, depending on who's first will pick between those two. And some of those level designs are so well done. CrossWorlds like Cyberspace, Dragon Road, Golden Temple, which is beautiful, by the way. Galactic Parade, Poloska, and there's a few others, but those are just notably some of my favorite that I have experienced in the game, and there are a lot to explore. One thing that I absolutely love that Sega does is when you complete the Grand Prix, it actually allows you to do CrossWorlds of other stages that are in the Grand Prix. So you aren't necessarily just limited to the CrossWorld tracks, is a lot of times you'll go to completely different stages that are from the other previous Grand Prix or Grand Prix in the future, which is a really awesome feature, and I absolutely love that they decided to do that as like an unlock bonus for completing all the Grand Prix. They really just created an entirely new gimmick for a racing game and truly just hit it right on the head with how incredible it is. The other really great game mode that I've been really addicted to and have been trying to get through a lot right now is Race Park. Now, Race Park has a bunch of different game modes that you can go against these rivals, where you can then change their levels very similar to the Grand Prix, and there's a few different teams that you're going to face that have different gadgets equipped to them, but also they're going to give you different unlockable stuff like different carts and extreme gearboards. Currently, right now, I'm trying to get through the last few and get the last few vehicles that I need for the game. But some of those teams consist of Team Sonic, Team Rose, Team Dark, Team Chaotix, Team Eggman, Team Dimensions, Team Deadly Six, and the Babylon Rogues, where you can see each of these characters in kind of more of like a cyber skin form. These are racers that were created by Dodonpaw to challenge your racing skills. And the cool thing about this is if you raise the friendship by giving these characters Dodonpaw tickets in the friendship section of the game, you'll actually get these skins at level 4, which is really cool, and it's just really cool to see these skins as a playable feature in the game, and also just a collectible thing as well. But it is not easy getting these skins, as I am so much into the game so far, and I haven't unlocked one yet. I'm in the process of trying to get silvers right now, and then I will probably try to work on getting shadows or some other characters. But they cost thousands of tickets. It's kind of crazy. But these racers are also no joke as well, as if you put them on a harder difficulty, they are very, very hard to beat. But very similar to the festival mode if you played the open network test for Joker, you have different game modes that you can play against these rivals where you need to beat them 3 times. You have Triple Team Ring Grab, where there's 3 teams of 4 trying to get as many rings as possible, but also still trying to get first place in a race. There's also Triple Team Tap Boost, which is very similar to Triple Team Rings, where instead of trying to get rings, you're just going to tap each other, a bunch of your teammates. My personal 2 favorites are the Double Team Shootouts and the Double Team Dash, where in the shootout, you're basically rewarded for points by hitting people with items. And it's just honestly an all-out war when you do this, and it's a bunch of fun to do so. Which can also be really fun as these stages go by really quick because you're hitting so many dash panels. You also have Extreme Match, which is just a normal race with just only heavy hitter items, which are these item boxes with crowns that basically just give you some insane like items all throughout the race. But if you want a more enjoyable experience and just kind of do a normal race, there's also Quick Match that you can do where it's just you trying to get first against all rivals. There is so much content jam-packed into this mode, and I absolutely love it. And even when I'm done with all the rivals, I could definitely see myself playing this game mode a lot with not only myself, but also friends. And they even give you an option to make your own custom match with own rules, item selects, or even being able to select different CrossWorlds that you can go to. So if you want to make your own game mode, you can absolutely do that. And then you have one of the most broken things about the game is the gadgets. Now, don't ask me on what I recommend for gadgets because I haven't really deep dived too much into that, and I'm sure that my opinion on the different gadgets is probably pretty irrelevant for something like online or trying to beat the game. But the main one that I ended up using was all of the quick charges of level 1, 2, and 3, and then the Air Trick Expert. I found myself drifting a lot and also taking off a bunch of jumps to be able to help me go a lot farther, and also just complete these races a lot quicker. But you have so many options in the likes of the different ring ability ones, where you get rings for doing air tricks or going off-road or hitting dash panels, or even have the ring thief ones. Whenever you hit somebody, you steal their rings. You have the technical ones that will basically enhance your car in some way, whether you be on air, flying, or land. You have the charge upgrades, which are some of my personal favorite of drifting. You have stat upgrades, support, item control, upgraded add-ons, standard kits, machine type kits. There are so many gadgets in this game. Now, I'm not too sure if online gives you more. I'll have to eventually look into that, or someone can correct me in the comments on that. But I absolutely love just exploring all of the different gadgets and trying different combinations that work for my playstyle. Now, there are definitely ones out there that I know I am not going to like at all and just feel like they don't do too much for me, that are going to work for different people because they play differently than I do. And that's awesome. There's even been different times where, if depending on the character or the vehicle that I'm going to be using, that I will completely change the gadgets on which I'm using in a Grand Prix or a race park challenge. And I think that's such an awesome feature, and I'm so glad that this is a feature online, as it's going to give you an advantage in certain parts of the race against other real players, where they're going to have different advantages in different sections as well, or they might be running similar stuff to you. But the gadgets are such a really fun thing to do, and they're definitely something that I have spent a lot of time just kind of reading and trying to test out what each of them do. And the last thing that I'll really touch on within my first impressions of the game is going to be the customization features of each of the vehicles. Now, I'm still trying to collect all of them. I have every single speed, acceleration, and handling vehicle. Trying to get the last few extreme gearboards and the power vehicles at the moment. I just need some more tickets because they're really hard to come by. That stingy Tanuki Dodonpod does not like giving them out at all. But anyway, I genuinely love that you can change the front, the back, and the different wheels, and it'll affect the different stats. But also just being able to customize a vehicle that just looks the best. For example, I really like the way the back of Sonic's vehicle looks like, but I really like the way the front of Shadow's looks. So combining those two was a no-brainer, at least in the demo for me, because I thought that that looked the best between the two. But also being able to change the colors to be able to fit whatever character you're using, or being able to change the texture of them, or just different colors depending on what character you're using, is so much fun, alongside all of the different decals that you can add on to the vehicles of different stickers. Sega even added a bunch of crossover ones like Puma, MSI, Lenovo. There's even an Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball, sticker in here, which is really cool. It'd be really cool to see potentially if there's a Dragon Ball collab. I mean, hey, I wouldn't be mad about Goku being added as a playable character, but that's probably pretty unlikely. You also have the bunch of different horns that you can unlock, which are very expensive, by the way, with 500 tickets a piece. And you also have the auras, which are even more expensive, but I know that you get a lot in ranked, where you can get different auras for your vehicles to match your characters or your kart combination. There are so many different options for each of these categories, whether you're a speed fan, acceleration, handling power, or extreme gearboard, or known as boost. There are so many different selections that they're adding into the game that are just really great to see, and it's really fun just to make your own board, but also try out all of the different vehicles. I have yet to try out all of them. I've tried out most of them. I want to say like 75% of them, but there's still a few that I have to try out, and it's really fun just trying all of them out. And I can't wait for them to add even more, as each of the DLC characters seem to be having their own type of vehicle joining the race as well, where you can actually see some of them if you go into some of the sections. Or if you go into acceleration, you can actually see the minecart from Minecraft and also the paddy wagon from SpongeBob, which it's kind of funny if you kind of combine them with some of the other backs or fronts of the vehicle, because you can kind of hover over them. These look so goofy and so wrong. And also, it's kind of funny if you have your own car and then you just put these Minecraft wheels that are literally just bricks for wheels. It just looks so wrong, but yet it's so goofy at the same time. But I can't wait for these DLC characters to come out, as it seems like they're going to be coming out pretty quickly. It kind of seems like Sega has a plan for every month to be releasing a new character alongside a course and their own vehicle. Now, there's definitely a lot more that I could completely gush about in this video, but I'm gonna save you the trouble and just say, go play the game. In a non-biased opinion, this is the kart racing game of the year so far. Yes, we still have Kirby Air Riders coming out later this year, but this is by far, in my opinion, better than Mario Kart World, in a non-biased opinion, because I love both of the games. I've always been a huge Mario Kart fan, with, like I said, Mario Kart Double Dash and Mario Kart 8 being two of my favorite racers in the entire world, but this game definitely rivals those really well. It really feels like I'm playing Mario Kart 8 again for the first time, just having that joy and addiction to the game. Sega did so good with this, and a lot of the reviews nailed it right on the head. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I actually agree with IGN's review in the sense of giving it a 9 out of 10. This is easily 9 out of 10, but this game has every right to be a 10 out of 10 in the near future, with all the different DLC and different things that they're going to be adding to the game. The likes of festivals, DLC, and other stuff as well. Whether you're waiting for this game to come out on Switch or buying the standard edition, this game is by all means a must-buy in my opinion. I absolutely love this game, and I have already gotten my money's worth with spending the $90 for the Digital Deluxe Edition. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to get back to racing, and I'll see you on the track. With all that being said, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!